And Wes Moore is here with us. Good to see you, best-selling author and U.S. Army combat vet. All right, so let's start with what happened at the White House. Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
The Secret Service.
How did that happen?
I don't think it's ever happened before. As long as the Secret Service can't remember, the Secret Service is launching a full review of its procedures after a pair of security breaches. The New York Times reports officials are already considering checkpoints several blocks away to screen tourists and other visitors to conduct bag checks. The Secret Service is facing strong criticism after a man carrying a knife jumped a 9-foot-high fence at the White House on Friday evening. He then ran about 100 yards across the north lawn and then entered an unlocked door to the White House. President Obama and his family were not home. They had left, I think, earlier that day, and a guard took the man into custody. The alleged intruder has been identified as 42-year-old Omar Gonzalez, an Iraq war veteran. Family members say Gonzalez has been living out of a truck for the last few years and suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder. He's expected to be in court today. One of the reports I read said he was a trained sniper as his position. Less than 24 hours later, another man was arrested for pulling his car into a screening area and refusing to leave. Officials say the Secret Service is trying to determine why attack dogs were not used when it became clear a man had jumped the fence, or why the front door of the White House was not locked when an alarm went off. Republican Congressman Peter King of New York is demanding a full investigation, calling the security breach, quote, absolutely inexcusable.
The fact that they said he wasn't brought down because they didn't think he had a weapon, he could have had a body bomb, he could have had a vest on. As we know, he did have a knife. There can be a lot of conspiracies against the president, a lot of very complex assassination plots. This is the most basic, the most simple type of procedure, and how anyone, especially in these days of ISIS, and we're concerned about terrorist attacks, someone could actually get into the White House without being stopped is inexcusable.
In a statement, the White House says President Obama has full confidence in the men and women of the Secret Service.
That's a stunning, Willie.
Walks in the front door of the White House.
It's stunning. How did he get that far?
I don't know how he got that far. I don't know why the front door of the White House is wide open. Let's go to Washington. The reporter for the New York Times, Michael Schmidt, who's writing about this morning. Michael, it's good to see you. First of all, let's ask the question Joe just threw out there. How is it possible that a man not only scales the fence, but makes it 100 yards without being stopped, and then literally walks in the front door of the White House? How did it happen?
Well, I think that senior Secret Service officials are pretty disappointed in what happened, and they clearly know that there's a problem here. They say, look, we don't have the resources to put an officer every 5 feet on the fence of the White House, but we have a plan here. We have these dogs, and they should have been unmuzzled and sent immediately to stop this guy, because they have a policy basically of not shooting people who don't look unarmed. Now, some people think that that policy is pretty flawed, because as Peter King said, you could have explosives on you. This guy had a knife on him, and this guy wasn't shot because they thought he wasn't armed. But they said the most important thing is that they have these attack dogs and they weren't used.
And we saw an incident, Michael, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, where the dogs were deployed. There was a man who didn't make it halfway across. They got him down on the ground, and they used the dog. Have they said at all why, in this case, the dogs didn't make it out?
No, that's what they really want answers to. They want to know there's more than one of these dogs on the White House grounds at all times. And basically the dogs are trained that as soon as their muzzle comes off and as soon as they come off the leash, they're basically supposed to go after whoever is in front of them. Now, what some people say is that they don't use the dogs that often because they're afraid of who the dogs may actually attack. Like, let's say you have different security officers running at this guy.
Right.
Will the dog know to go directly after the intruder?
I would hope that we've trained them well enough. I mean, Mika, I'm sorry. I don't know about whether you shoot somebody before they get to the White House door, but I will say this: you do everything you can to stop that person once they move past the gate. If this guy's armed with explosives,
100 yards?
I mean,
in a door?
Absolutely no excuse
Wes?
for them, West. I mean, I'm sorry. I hate to say it. I hate to just say it. If you jump over the fence and you start bolting towards the White House, and they can't stop him before he gets into the White House, somebody needs to shoot him and take him down. Hopefully a sharpshooter can take him down in his knees. I say if you get over the fence, then you have to understand that you could be killed.
It should be a common understanding that if you decide
I thought it was.
security in the White House, then what's coming to you is what's coming to you.
Yeah.
And you're not just trespassing on property, you're also violating national security. There needs to be an understanding.
You're violating national security. You can also, for anybody that sounds harsh, shoot on sight. If the president is there, if the president was there, if somebody else was there, Mika, we're talking about a national security issue here.
Right.
We're talking about the commander-in-chief
That's
in very difficult times. The last thing we need is a constitutional crisis because the Secret Service couldn't do their job. Who's running the Secret Service? What is wrong with this agency? They got the whole strippers thing down. I don't mean to be cold about it, but how do you... This is the biggest scandal of all. That you leave the White House open to a guy scaling a 9-foot... Seriously? Scaling a 9-foot fence?
Right there, you could stop it.
Right there.
Right there.
What are they doing? What are
If
they
you can't-
looking at? And don't tell me you don't have the budget to stop this.
I would say that in the past few weeks, all we've heard about is the heightened state of alert that we are in and how accessible terrorists are to this country. And
It's inexcusable.
how we should be in full alert, and a guy jumps the fence at the White House and runs into the door.
It's
It's a problem.
inexcusable.
They're conducting a full review, as I said. We should follow that closely, and we'll have more coming up.